Is this just going to be an episode where all the Earth Federation named guys are just going to get killed one after the other?
Probably. I mean, Joaquin gets killed later on in the series, but
yeah, no, he goes through the entire war. He's a fucking hero.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Stone-Faced Reactions. I'm Theta. This is Lessons, and we are back with another episode of the show that you clicked the name of. An impronounceable show that everyone has their own thing for. We have come back from episode 1 with notes, but first off, I do have a board, so let's go ahead and check that out.
Good, because we need names of the protagonists.
I did not put the names on there.
Oh.
Though I do put something I shouldn't have done. I put the names in my notes. I shouldn't know the names, so I shouldn't have done that. The only names I put on the board are the names that they actually said in the show.
Site 6 Civilian, Xeon, Site 6 Police.
So normally I would do a board changelog, but I don't typically do a board changelog for the first one since it's the creation of the board. But as Lessons just called out, the outlines for the 3 groups I've identified so far, as well as a key for the lines that go between them, so everybody knows what those are.
Yeah.
Of course, this will also be linked in the description down below, so you can see it outside of this, in case you want to zoom in better or check it out or whatever. I've also included a mentioned section for characters that have been mentioned in the show but haven't appeared. Although I'm guessing I'm just actually forgetting that Char should be on here.
Yeah, shouldn't there be a red line between Savior and Protag?
No. Why would there be?
I mean, because she stole the Gundam.
Yeah, but she didn't do anything to him.
Yeah, but if somebody steals something from me, that's doing something to me.
well, I would argue it's also not his property. She steals from Xeon.
Yeah.
Also, arguably, he was essentially under custody from Side 6 military police. So technically, she kind of stole from them, not from him.
Well, I have a note about all that.
I'm sure. I think we have 40 notes between us.
But yeah, the board, well, we don't have that many. We have the crew of, I guess we can call it the Green Base now. It's not
I've got a note about that.
Yeah. Doing the fact that they gave Chalabu green hair. I don't remember he had green hair in the original.
He didn't.
Show.
Something I mentioned, I think, during the episode, that I didn't like how they changed his appearance. But, technically anybody that shows up is going to have a changed appearance because it's a different art style. So I better just get over it because it's not much I can do about it. I just, maybe it's not the art style change that I dislike. It's the fact that they made him younger.
I mean, I don't mind that.
Yeah, well, I mean, amongst explainable things, right? How was that explained? That he came back and got a facelift? Does that feel like something Charlie Bull would have done?
I don't know. I mean, that's the thing with age in anime, right? This being an AU, I think it's a bit of a glow up, basically. That's what they did. That's it. Stylistic choice.
Sure. Charlie Bull, 60-year-old man, now looks 40.
I don't think he was 60 in the original.
He looked fucking old in the original.
Yeah. I mean, it's like Rambo Rao in Origins versus Rambo Rao in UC, right? Rambo Rao looked fit and tall, and the Rambo Rao he was still fit, but he looked pretty, pouchy and kind of, fat in the UC version.
Yeah, but that was a number of years. And to be fair, they were pretty hard years.
How many years between what happened in 2, 3?
I almost want to say 10.
Because the Dawn Rebellion Dawn Rebellion wasn't 10 years. I mean, Char would have been what?
We didn't see Ramba Rawl in the Dawn Rebellion. Last time we saw Ramba Rawl was to be fair, actually, think about it. You're describing him in episode 2 of Origin, which is the last real focus we got on him. And then if you remember to when he's punching people in the bar, he is getting a bit thicker and a bit older looking. So time is passing on him.
Oh yeah, 10 years because we start the story with them as Char and.
Well, we start with flashbacks to 63, and then I think we go to 69, so it has to be 10 years since 79.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm saying we see him as a younger, skinnier man, the one you're describing. But by the end, he's this thicker guy. He's not the overweight guy in the original, but he is getting there. And there's still time in between where we see him in Origin and then. I mean, I thought you were going to point out Bright Noah from the original to Donovan's Island.
He looks a little older in Donovan's Island.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be like 19.
Also, it's not Donovan's Island. I know, don't give me in the comments. I just can't remember the name off the top of my head.
It's a D something, yeah.
I just thought that would be the example you would make. That, well, even then, that's a weird one because they made him older.
Yeah. Again, stylistic choice.
All right. Anything else to say about the board?
Not really.
All right. Well, notes. I have more, which means I go first. I guess the first thing we see in the first episode is a clan battle. If that wasn't a clan battle, then it was just two mobile suits fighting in space for no reason with nobody stopping them.
Yeah, I'll do my because it covers everything we see in the opening before the music kicks in. And no, I don't think it was a clan battle because clearly one of the suits was a Sion suit.
Right. They make a comment specifically about neither of them having installer keys in them, which means that they weren't combat models. Also, they make comments about selling them to civilians. Also, later on in the episode, the one that the clan battlers have in their house, their refugee house, is a Zaku. So it being a Xeon model doesn't mean anything.
I want to say my piece. Okay, quux notes. Episode 1, the Red Gundam. Off the bat, construction mobile suit fights fist fighting Sion suits. The white base in Sion color, so I guess it's green base by now. Sion sold MS Tech to civilians. Set suit needs a special key to use weapons. Chila Bull and new types. A Red Gundam attacking Sion forces near Site 6, which is technically a sovereign nation. And it's because we see that they have the symbology of Sion, not the sort of pentagon sign, the segmented pentagon thing of the.
They very specifically call Site 6 a sovereign nation, so.
Yeah. Yeah, but you have Sion forces in the vicinity. Not only Chila Bull, but you have like Sion suits as well. Right?
Again, that doesn't matter. They sold their mobile suits.
No. But the thing is that when you see the symbology, but they have different symbols. Like
also, that doesn't matter because I didn't write a note about this, but I did pause repeatedly trying to see what was on the Red Gundam's shield, and it is it's a broken down Xeon logo, which means that they're not changing it. So they're selling it to you with the logos and everything.
No, but they are. But the people who buy it are changing it because the military police have their own symbol, which is a kind of a pentagon, which is fragmented.
Oh yeah, but that's their own mobile suits.
Yeah, but they're Sion suits. They're Sakus that they just bought. They had to buy them from Sion because they don't make them, and put their own Lambo on them. These guys were Sion. So yeah, and also the one we see later on that been used for the fights. Also, they took away all the painting of the Sions and they put some other stuff in it. So,
Well, my interpretation was that the white base, until we get to the future note on my end, or green base, as you already declared it, is the only Xeon property in the area.
Mobile suits are known as MAVs. Now, I say that.
Are we still on your first note?
Yeah, I'm still on the first note.
Okay, because I forget. You said you had your notes in a bullet point system. I'm like, we have covered 7 things already. We still have one
they're
note.
All rapid fire in the first,
Sorry, it's just I've got a whole paragraph about the definition of MAVs, and it's yours is in the thing about. Okay, just go on.
Yeah. So that's it. That's my first note.
No, you didn't finish your MAVs thing.
No, I just said call them. Mobile suits are known as maps.
Okay, well,
That's my theory.
I disagree on that, but again, as I've said, I have a whole paragraph about that, so I didn't know that I interrupted you literally on your period, the period at the end. So
Yeah.
something I don't think came up in any of the episodes of Mobile Suit Gundam that we watched. White Base had a big old trucker horn that Xeon installed it as an upgrade. Though odd thing that we can hear the trucker horn in space. Tangential thought I'm just going to attach to this one. Maybe we should call it Green Base from now on, just not to confuse ourselves. I know. Here's the problem, is that our notes aren't aligned with one another, so you could bring something up real early that I might have not only wrote a note about till the end.
Yeah. I mean, I think the trucker horn also has to be over the radio because otherwise it wouldn't work. You're in vacuum.
Well, it wouldn't work if you weren't on the frequency that the trucker horn's being broadcast on.
Yeah.
I mean, unless it's like the Gundam Seed thing. We'll broadcast it on the emergency thing. That's cool. Now there's an emergency going on. They're getting trucker horn.
Although it could also, I mean, ships also have those kinds of horns as well. So, so it's not just a trucker horn. Actually, it's a approaching port horn or a collision course horn. But again,
Space.
in space. I mean, the people inside the ship would hear, of course, like they're the ones pressing the button, but everyone else is like, "What? I don't
Yeah,
hear
well, I
anything."
think you would want somebody like on the intercom going, collision alert, or something like that. Brace, all hands brace.
Yeah. Well, my note then. Protec, which we don't have a name for her yet. They might have mentioned the name later, but I didn't catch it. Was born and raised in Side 6 and wants to live on Earth. And the courier deliberately bumped into her so as to drop the drive on her bag in case she got caught by the cops. She also added a tracker so she could retrieve it later. Smart girl.
She also has a traveler guide for Earth in her backpack.
Yeah.
I didn't write a note about it. I just recall it because I saw it and I was like, should I make a note about this? Nah, doesn't matter. I still don't know if we're even going to leave Side 6. This whole story might just be at Side 6.
Yeah.
One has to wonder what the situation is that Xeon is selling off mobile suits to civilians. Is that a product of how safe the world is now? That there is no concern for how they might be used? Or is it a statement of how the Xeon economy is failing, selling off military equipment to make ends meet?
I would say the latter because the thing about a military economy, a war economy, is that it will make a lot of money for certain kind of people, and it can stimulate the economy in the short term. But in the long term, it just makes unless you're making large quantities of civilian goods and providing services to accommodate the expenditure in the military. Military is just a raw expenditure. You don't really get anything back because the thing that you're selling material that is designed to either be in storage, just be there, or it's going to get wear down or destroyed. It's not like selling a fridge where you could use it to turn it into into business. And I could have sell cakes from my home and use this fridge, or a cargo plane, we could carry people and things. Does make a profit and contribute to the economy, right? Or in this case, would be a transport ship. Suits like this, unless they're construction suits, are meant for one thing: war. And either they're just there until they get outdated and get sold off, or get damaged and destroyed in training and combat. So any military expenditure at the end is just that, an expenditure, it's a loss. So whatever money the government was pumping into the economy to wage the war against the Federation, that would have pumped up the numbers of people get jobs, go to factories, but then eventually it's a net loss. And so I think they would want to sell some of the tech as well, right? Also, I mean, Cassilia's in charge, apparently. I didn't put a note about that, but she just called her Excellency, so she could be the one in charge. She just feels confident enough, like you said, that, they don't think there's a threat anymore. So to my next note then. Fullypedia. That's what I noticed when she was looking up the drive. It's like
Some people think it's a
Fullypedia.
reference to Fooly Cooley.
Oh, well, it's the same artist, the same writer, I think.
I think I have a note later that references this, but there's also something in the background that references Daikon Plus. So, just kind of full of that stuff. I understand the concept of installer keys disabling weapons. It's peace binding. Except that we are talking about multi-ton, two-story mobile suits that can rip through the hull of a side with just their mass alone. It really doesn't feel like it's the most safe thing to put into civilian hands.
Well, then again, I think the idea is that it's like a wrecker versus a tank, right? Sure, a wrecker can do a lot of damage if you let it as a civilian vehicle. But if I have a tank with a main gun, I can blow away the wrecker.
Yeah, except that the
away,
Zaku's are tanks. You just without the gun, they can still plow through everything. And did you ever watch the first OVA, Dalos? The first OVA in general, not in Gundam stuff. Essentially, that's they're rising up against the Earth government that is oppressing them on the moon, and all they use essentially are the mining robots. You essentially could call them mobile suits. Like, they don't have built-in weapons or anything. All they've got is mass and a humanoid appearance. It's also really weird because Delos, I don't remember, they call them calculators or something like that. The Earth government's robotic force, they look like Valkyries in Gerwalk mode.
Interesting. I was going to say something else. Well, it's also, that also happens. Talk about decommissioning equipment. I'm still talking that, like what happened in World War II, where a lot of the stuff was sold in the civilian market, and during the end of the Cold War, like Russia was selling out tanks and stuff like that. It's like, oh yeah, a farmer wants to buy a tank.
I was going to bring up Lord of War, the Nicolas Cage movie, where he just resells old, weaponry from. Well, yeah, but one of them is literally his Russian uncle, where he's like selling helicopters and whatnot.
Yeah, the Lord of War. Yeah. Sorry, it sounded like you said the Lord of War. War. I'm like, what?
I said, yeah, we said the same thing.
Yeah, but war, not war, like an O instead of an A. That's what it sounded to me. Yeah, I know it's the difference is minimal. But
I would if you, I wouldn't have heard that even if it was you, because you know how pedantic I can be sometimes. But I wouldn't even think of anything. What is WOR?
Yeah, that's why I said like I recognize the movie. It's like, oh yeah, I know the movie, but it was like,
well, in my benefit, I did preface the Nicolas Cage movie.
Yeah, I think there was a video game in the '80s that was called War, WOR, but yeah, it doesn't matter anyway. Like an Atari 2600 or something like that. One of those weird games. That was your note, right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Green Base mission. I'm going to call it Green Base from now on until they give us a name. Find out who the Red Gundam is. Speculation is that it's Char, the son of late Daikon. But a lot of people are making these claims these days. And what the heck? What is a Sec Nova? We don't know what that is. It gets mentioned like, oh, this would be bad. No,
I have it somewhere in my notes too. I just know it's not one of my next three. I don't remember why I brought it up either. I assume it must be something from after the 1 Year War or something we haven't been introduced to yet.
Yeah.
It is an interesting concept that Zeon would even care about job creation for Federation forces remains. I suppose the function it would serve would be to ensure former Federation soldiers are not left idling with too much time on their hands to think about the war and what to do about it. Give them opportunities to make a better life for themselves, and they might be less inclined to rise up. Exactly like Zeon did. I suppose not for nothing, but the comment was also made in reference to what might have been two mobile suits fighting each other, so possibly a bread and circus scenario. As Chalyabul says, a necessary evil to ensure peace as the victors.
I mean, yeah, because I was thinking that I went before I do it on my notes. Did my notes last minute, as I often do. Um, I was thinking, okay, what do they do with the prisoners? Did they, you know, put left them in concentration in prisoner camps like the Russians did with Germans for years, right? Do they put them to labor, perhaps slave labor? Do they just shoot them, right? Or do they let them go? And clearly, they would have millions upon millions of prisoners if the entirety of the Earthside forces surrender, right? So I guess it's just like, yeah, we're gonna get a work furlough. Like you leave, and I mean, Americans did this with Germans and put them to work when they brought them
I'm not
to
leaning
Germany.
towards real world examples. I'm just don't
Yeah,
think we've ever seen prisoners.
uh,
I
in
mean,
Gundam.
other Xeon taking Earth Federation people prisoner. We've seen Xeon officers or Xeon soldiers being taken prisoner. I don't think we've ever seen the other side.
I don't know. There's
Except
some
for what's his name, the asshole. I can't remember his name.
which one?
The
Oh
one,
well,
the one I don't like.
General
Rebel,
Rebel, yeah,
yeah, Rebel got taken, and we did see a prison facility. I'm assuming he's not the only person there.
yeah.
So I guess that implies that they've. I don't know. I don't know. We've
Yeah,
literally
but this
seen
is
one example of it in the entire media so far, so I can't really
yeah.
think of any how to place
Yeah,
that.
but Rebel could just be a military break of some sort, right? Or just a prison that they had. It's like, oh, we have a prison because he was short term, right? But we're talking about here that at the end of a war or while you're fighting the war, if you have mass surrenders,
Well, I'm just
you gotta.
again the idea is that I haven't seen it happen, so I can't. Oh, they clearly would do this, or they would clearly do that. I have no idea. The only
I'm not
examples I
saying
have is literally
things.
what's his name from 8th MS Team that they were just going to shoot the next day, implying that maybe that's their modus operandi. But then we also have Revel, who was in a facility that we didn't get to see if it's filled with the Federation soldiers or maybe defectors or who knows. So I don't have any conceit that I can think of to
Well,
make a standard statement.
I mean, I'm not saying clearly. I'm saying those are the options that they would
No,
have
no, no. I'm not
available
putting
to
words
them.
in your mouth. I was hearing what you were saying, and I'm then trying to remember any time we've seen anyone taken prisoner, and it was always a Xeon soldier, like White
Yeah,
Base during OG Gundam. But I can't think of any other times that Xeon took anybody prisoner, and what did they do, right? So I don't know. I mean, the idea that they're putting people into jobs kind of implies that they didn't gun everyone down in the streets. Because at that point, we've got so much bad will on our side that doesn't matter what we do. So might as well not give them jobs. So they must not have done that. So I guess they do have massive prison facilities on the moon.
or on Earth
Well,
if they ever occupy the
Rebel was
Earth.
held on the moon in a massive Xeon prison facility. So I've just imagined,
Yeah.
well, the one bit of information, all I can do is extrapolate from there. So maybe they just Granada is a prison city now or something, like Legend of the Galactic Heroes, where they have a whole prison
Mhm.
moon essentially.
Yeah. Planet.
Well, they didn't finish building it, so just way.
So that was you then. Yeah. So Xeon continued to develop Gundam technology and even added Psychomu tech to it. Just to keep their edge, I suppose, and keep those weapons factories going.
Well, they were pushing the new types as weaponry because
Mhm.
they're the ones that had a whole academy for it. They had
Yeah, the Flanagan Institute, yeah.
they were trying to weaponize them, whereas the Earth Federation only had Amuro.
For them, it was just a theory only. They hadn't really studied it before. It's like,
I mean,
oh, he could be a new type, but we don't really know.
I guess I was about to say technically, I guess Earth Federation was the first one to weaponize a new type just by accident, but technically, no. Char was already in operation before Amuro was, so Xeon had already weaponized a new type without realizing it. One of the Xeon officers somewhat mocks Chalia when he senses a Gundam by saying, "Your Jupiter returnee intuition." There are a number of different ways I feel like you could take that. One, it's just a throwaway line for new people to know that Chalia Bull has gone to Jupiter and back. 2, it's a mocking title they've given him for his pseudo new type powers. 3, did everyone coming back from Jupiter become a new type? Either way, we hear a buzzing noise as we are focused on Chalia before he mentions the red Gundam just before it appears. His new type of power. But it was always implied to me in the OG Gundam that Chalia Bull was somewhat of a pseudo new type, like a proto new type or something. His powers were not on par with anybody else that we saw.
Also a bit of a telepath too, I think. Because there's a whole warning about not reading someone else's mind. Not that he could actually, but
Right.
maybe speculated that's it. Yeah. So that's his new type power. He's a telepath, and he can literally read his enemies, or should be able to read enemies' thought before they commit to them. Although our reactions, especially in combat, are much faster than our thoughts. Because we learn them and we react to it. Rather, you're I'm going to do this. You don't think I'm going to shoot. Yeah,
the paradox of the pain response, right? That you jerk before the actual message could ever reach your brain.
Yeah. So there's that. I love the music so far, right up my alley. It pairs well with the view of the colony living we've gotten so far. This is not the first view of colony life that we've seen, but so far this one gives us more variety and insight than we have seen in the show so far. Because actually before this, colony life was just, shopping and maybe somebody taking a bus, something like that. Very short things, but here we see a day-night cycle. Here we see, we've seen day and night in colonies as well, but it's sort of that idea of she's going to school, you have all these refugees, so there's areas that are well and others. Like, I think the most we got in like extended colony view would be Texas, but Texas was deliberately made as a like a pleasure colony, right? People go to vacation there, so everything was sort of made up for people vacationing there. And we never really get even in the well, I don't know. You saw the series, I just saw the abbreviated movies, but even in stuff like Seed, we didn't see extended views of the colony. We just saw brief flashes. Oh, somebody talks here.
I mean, we kind of did, but I wouldn't use Seed as an example. Those are completely different colonies. That's like, I don't know. It goes back to, I think, the conversations that we had during Origin, that it seems like different Banchai are specialized for different purposes. So it might be that in a sample size of the area of a colony that we are actually seeing, we are seeing exactly what it's for. Like all the times we spent in Origin and OG Gundam looking at Munzo, then Munzo is the Coruscant Banchai, it's just all city and living space. Everything has to be imported. And then we see, like, as you mentioned, Texas was a former, what do you call it? Not a circus, vacation port. It was supposed to be a themed colony.
Theme park, yeah.
But it seems very likely that they're not only just a theme park, they probably are actually raising animals and exporting, food and whatnot. So,
although now I have to correct myself, because we do see quite a bit of Munzo in Origins, not nightlife and the club and stuff like that. So,
well, I was leaning more towards your example of seeing these things, Side 6, because our perspective was very specifically on one thing in OG Gundam, which was we're going here to buy supplies and repair. So all we're seeing is the districts where those people will be going to purchase stuff.
And a little bit of the countryside, there were swans and a lake and all that. So,
right.
But that just was there only to serve a function of introducing Lala and the whole death sequence thing. And
well, you remember even Munzo had a giant lake with a castle and everything. So
yeah, the evil castle evil. Their version, I don't know.
No, you're thinking about where the zombies live. I'm talking about the Daikuun's castle.
Oh yeah, the Daikuns.
Where
I think the Ramba also had like a more like a chateau than
mansion.
a castle.
Yeah, because his seemed to be in the city itself, whereas the Daikun castle tower thing seemed to be on the edge of a giant lake, like Central Park. Like they seem to be on the edge of Central Park. Whereas the rest of the place is city.
But even then, even with all that, maybe it's because, well, the compressed manner they put the music, put people. This really feels like a live-in place, right? Where before other places just seem like background for the characters, right? Oh, we're in the spaceport. We're here. We're there, right? This is just a background of things that are happening or the characters are doing. This seems the focus is on the city living, right? We see people like the refugee town. Oh, these are illegal buildings, right? Getting on about the cops. People living in poverty, but also in the trains, and you get that sense of a living city that you never really, at least I never really got from anything before. We were shown the city, but again, just like a background. Oh, with this castle, this is where we're gonna have this conversation with the people. Oh, this is the shopping center. Oh, they're gonna go buy some books or whatever, right? Oh, this is a junkyard where Amuro meets dad, who's oxygen deprived and his oxygen deprived brain, stuff like that, right? It's just a place. It's a setting, the background. They're not the focus. Except
Well,
maybe when we see Texas destroyed, which I think it's.
I mean, it's just an element of the story you're trying to tell, right? If the
Yeah.
world is a part of the story, then you have to develop the world in order to tell that story. In this case, we have the refugee camps, which I'm assuming is going to be expounded upon, because it's an element of, well, where do the refugees come from? Why are they here? All that stuff. And if that's an element that's going to motivate your characters, then you need to, as I said, expound upon that so that we know why the characters are motivated to do anything about this. I assume it's also going to be motivation for our main characters want to get to Earth and everything like that. But as per our OG Gundam people, they weren't here to explore themes about why this place is the way it is. They were here to move from this location to another location. So this was just a stop off. We don't need to explore it. In fact, we explore it through Cameron, who is administrator of Side 6.
Yeah.
So what we learn about Side 6, we really learn through Cameron. So it's more about the people, less about the place.
Yeah.
We had been guessing about what a MAV was, and I think we had suggested it might have been some insurgent force to resist Zeon. Well, I guess we both missed that 2 minutes in when the Red Gundam attacks two Side 6 mobile suits in space. One of them gets its head blown off, and the radio chatter is, "They got my MAV." Later, Kamoli, when speaking to Chalia about Char, mentions that he was Chalia's MAV. So I'm thinking mobile suit wingman, instructor, commanding officer, something of that nature. More confusingly, when our main character suggests that she might be a MAV in jest, as it falls outside those guesses. Maybe MAV is the Side 6 word for new type?
I don't know.
As I said, they use MAV in like 5 different connotations, and it's very confusing.
Then but then later on, I know that also the military police is saying that, oh, you won't shoot up my MAV.
Oh, that's what I said MAV. 2 minutes in, the military. I said called them Side 6 mobile suits, but they are police. He says, you shot my MAV. I know, you're talking about the later one. I'm likening your example to the first one. They say the very first time they shot my MAV, and I'm pretty sure it's not the guy who got shot who said it. It's the guy who's with him. So he's referring to his compatriot. Which again, to Kamoli referring to Chalia and his relationship to Char, you were Char's MAV. So, he was Chalia's MAV. You know what I'm saying? What does that mean?
Yeah.
So my best guess right now is new type. It's another word for new type.
But that wouldn't make sense if you were Char was
Chaliable's MAV. I mean, yeah. Well, maybe he was
both new types.
No, wait. Maybe this was before he went to Jupiter. He was not Chaliable wasn't a new type then. Became a new type later, in which case Char was his new type. Maybe they get set up with a new type normal person thing. I don't know. Again, MAV has too many different connotations that have been given to us without a definitive meaning.
Just a note: meet cute at 9:07, including sparkles and sound effects. When the girl, he lands on the little shrine. I don't know what I might call it.
I thought it was a mailbox.
Yeah, it's not a mailbox. It's a thing that happens in shrines. It's like a lantern holder or something like that.
Well, it
Where
was
you
in
buy.
front of a shrine though, so I just
Yeah,
assumed, sending mail to the
it's
shrine.
yeah, no, it's part of the shrine, and that falls over, and then they collide, and you see sparkles and the music. It's like, okay, they're setting up a romance between these two.
I mean, they haven't set it up yet.
Well, setting it up. Like,
Yeah, I know.
this
I'm
is
just
the
saying
first.
that by the end of the first episode, I don't feel like these two care about one another at all. So, the unknown text our main character gets says, "Let's get the beginning," with the letter B in beginning curiously capitalized, implying proper noun status.
I didn't notice that, so I have no comments about it either way.
Oh, you best believe that I screenshotted everything that was in not translated. I spent maybe an hour translating text. We haven't gotten to those notes yet.
A cat that barks like a dog and a Haru with a hoodie. These are my kind of abrasive, weird nerds.
I don't like the hoodie.
I
Well, it's
love
not
the
a
hoodie.
hoodie. That's not a hoodie. That's
It's a cap.
yeah.
Cap?
It has
Snow
a
cap?
name. I can't recall what it's called. It's not
Snowboarder cap?
a hoodie. Would have to have a jacket. Hoodie.
Yeah, snow cap.
Again, we had
No,
our whole debate during the episode.
I know what it is. It's just top of my head, like, because I had those when I was in the States. I had to because I lived in Michigan. Cover my head, but
I hung
I
around in
don't
snow
know.
all the time without any head cover, so you didn't have to have it.
Well, it really got cold and snowy, so yeah.
Just get cold ears. That's all.
Oh, I don't want
I
to.
used to sit out in the snow in underwear, so I don't know. To be
I don't know. I
fair,
mean,
not the
I
best
used to
health
walk
condition
in.
now, so who the fuck knows?
I used to walk in flip flops in the snow, but
And that's
that was
why I'm in a
okay.
wheelchair now.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just realized that was my note. So,
Oh, okay. The pilot of the GQuuuuuX is clearly a new type. He got the flash, but not capable of unlocking the Psycho Move system. Now, I have a note about when and how the Psycho Move system gets unlocked later on, but I'm just making this statement now when I saw it. So I do know what happens later on,
yeah, I wasn't about
which
to
is
explain it.
weird. Yeah. But it isn't what you were saying that he wasn't a new type.
I
He
wasn't saying he
was.
wasn't a new type.
Yeah, you were like, oh, this guy's not cheaper because he can't unlock the system.
I don't remember saying that.
Yeah.
He's very clearly a new type. He gets a new type flash, as you just pointed out. I don't know. Problem is I can't defend things I don't remember doing. When our main character gets off at the first station, Camden Station, and scans her phone to pass through the gates, she's heading from Highbury to Aldwych. We see a station We see a station map later with Aldwych on it, but Highbury nowhere in frame, implying that she's traveling quite a distance. Also, it costs her 1.35 heights, the currency at play.
Yeah.
For some reason, no, I think I said this earlier. His name's not Camden. His name is Cameron or something like that. The love interest from Side 6 in OG Gundam. Because that's something I went back. It's like, oh no, did they name this station in honor of the character from OG Gundam? It's like, nope, his name is Cameron, not Camden.
Classic Gundam pilot mistake. He got out of the cockpit.
I think he was trying. No, he had the control system locked up on him. He couldn't control the thing anymore.
But
So
he still got out.
yeah,
so.
what was he gonna do? Also, he was all by himself. It seemed like he was in the clear.
Until he wasn't.
I mean, I legit don't fault him for it. It's not like, Shiro? Shin?
Amata.
It was his first name.
Yeah, Amata. From Zero.
Hate them
Shin.
as team. Yeah, Shin. Right,
Yeah.
Shiro and Shin are both on my head. It's not like him, who's in like little middle of Vietnam, snipers, Zaku's, everything, everywhere, just walking around with the thing open, asleep. This dude was like in an airlock, alone, no one in sight, his suit not in operation. Seemed like a good time to go out and check. Our main character has a similar feel to her as to what I got from Alto from Across Frontier. the desire to get out of an artificial atmosphere and experience the real sky. At the same time, also kind of the opposite of most Zeons in the OG series, who disliked real gravity and were put off by actual Earth environments.
I mean, I thought I said, Protag was born and raised in Sig, wants to live on Earth. Same difference. My next note. It was Haru that unlocked the drive. Did the Haru come up with a special code for them or for a Gundam? How would it unlock something it never came in contact with before? Or was it Haku Haru, I suppose?
I mean, that's the Gundam Seed crossover thing. Mr. Pink unlocked doors for Lacus all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, but specifically,
maybe Amuro's
a piece of military hardware here.
Maybe Amuro's Haru will do something like that in the future. Yeah. I'm assuming they're basing it on something. It's either that or they just all decided after Lacus's Haru could unlock shit that, hey, we should probably give, like Witch for Mercury, Haru's a slot into gun emplacements. So, maybe it's like the world of improved Harus.
I mean, yeah, but here's the thing. This is a Haru who is a civilian model. We never see military. Well, I guess in Witch of Mercury, you do have military Haru models or dual purpose of military Harus.
I mean, they're also psychologists.
Yeah. And he just come in and it's like, oh, unlocked. I'm like, the drive got unlocked. I'm like, how would he even know to do that? Right. That's the kind of.
I mean, we're also assuming, causation. Sorry, causation isn't correlation. Just because the Haru said something and its eyes flashed doesn't have to mean that it did it. She does appear to be a new type,
Yeah, but
we get the La vision from her. We don't get that from the other guy. We just got a new type flash from him. She seems to go full bore, so it might be implied that she's capable of activating a Saikamu with her new type powers, where he is more like on Chalia Bull's level, like low level new type. Just because the Haru does a thing doesn't mean that anything happened because of it. I mean, I would read it that way because that's the only information that we've got. I don't think I have a note about it either, but I would say that's the case until otherwise.
Also, this Haru doesn't have the flaps. It only has...
It's under the ears. Speakers. I mean, it's under the thing, probably.
Yeah, under the beanie, yeah.
I mentioned it during the episode, but the installer key looks a whole hell of a lot like Temrei's device that he made up from garbage to give to Amuro to upgrade the Gundam. On side 6. It's either a funny little callback or a hint towards future developments. The one our main girl has is stamped by the Zeon logo and even has manufactured by Zeonic on it.
Or it could simply be that it's modeled against hard drive. Basically, that's what it is, a hard drive. And it just,
it literally has the arrows pointing at one another on the upper left and the same little line pattern in the middle section that Temrei's has. It's visually coded to be 80% exactly like Temrei's device.
Lala? Kira? Acid trip? What the fuck is going on here?
I said it a long time ago. Lala created the multiverse.
Yeah.
She said, Lala said very specifically, and I bring this up every time, that new types can travel through time and space.
Super robot battles. Here we go.
When our main girl looks up the WGX22100 on Fulipedia, the result she gets is, and the fact her fingers are covering some of it means that this translation is going to be broken. WGX22100 is a Gibre installer device for mobile computers, developed and manufactured by Look. It is a full copy of the V4400 developed during the war. By installing the mobile suit's combat OS, the energy transmission trigger to the mobile suit's weapons is switched on, allowing the use of heavy weapons, etc. In addition, the standard safety device to avoid contact is deactivated, allowing the mobile suit to have a wider range than usual. It is literally a Wikipedia article, so It is in started up is the what do you call it, the title line of one of them.
Mm-hmm.
It's a mobile weapon, not a conventional car. Sorry, it is a mobile weapon, but a conventional car. This was open to debate. During Operation V, the Earth Federation forces began using the Mary Ridge Type V-4400 on Gundam. The Principality of Zeon military, which captured and analyzed the Gundam, also acknowledged its superiority and improved performance. In response to this, Zeonic manufactured the WG-X-22100 as a perfect imitation of the V-4400, and actively upgraded existing mobile suits to include combat computers of this standard. This is why it is compatible with almost all mobile suits made after the war, regardless of whether they are made by Zeon or the Federation. Due to its high level of perfection and versatility, the WG-X-22100 became the most widely used combat installer device during the Zeon War of Independence. Smuggling issues and clan battles. It was a scroll. I had to click through multiple times. See also the recording circuit possession control law. The WG-X-22100 is subject to regulation under Article 2 of the Act on the Control and Possession of Recording Circuits, etc., and possession or use by anyone other than a registered business operator is prohibited. However, the number of cases of smuggled goods being traded illegally on the black market continues to rise, and enforcement is being stepped up.
So a problem of Zeon's own making, basically.
Well, it's a copy of the Gundam's original learning computer, and they said essentially that they have copied it. They've copied it and put it into all Zeon mobile suits from here on out.
Yeah, no, but I say a problem of Zeon's own making because now they're selling mobile suit technology to other people.
Right, but this is
It
an
has that
installer key.
computer.
No, this is an
Yeah, and
installer
now,
key, so they don't
yeah,
sell the ones with the mobile suits.
I know, but you are basically you're giving somebody a gun without ammo, and then you create a situation where people are smuggling ammo, right? If they didn't have the gun, they wouldn't need the ammo. But now you gave them the gun. It's like, well, can I get the ammo? Someone goes, yeah, I will sell you the ammo. Here, just give me some money. I'll sell you the ammo. It's illegal. Who cares? Just give me the ammo, right? That's what's happening here, right? Without the gun, the ammo was like, what the hell am I going to do with this, right? Even though it's supposed to work the opposite. It's supposed to ensure that the gun doesn't work, or basically the mobile suit, in order to shoot somebody. But it's actually doing the opposite situation. So Chila Bull knows that it's not Char in the red suit, but whoever was in the MS was a new type.
I've got a note about that later because I find it a very confusing situation.
I mean, it could be somebody else.
No,
It's
a
hinted
very
at somebody
confusing
else.
situation based on how they visualized it.
Well, I mean, if the awakening of if new types, one of the things about new types is they recognize other new types. So when the protagonist awakens and goes around, it's like, oh, are there other new types? And there's that new type. That could just been it. She's just making that connection between new types.
I'm just gonna wait, and hopefully I did write a note about it. If I didn't write a note about it, remind me about this, because otherwise, it's for me, it's a confusing visual, only because things. I'll get to it later.
Well, go ahead.
There's been lots of fools pretending to be Captain Char. Is that a meta swipe at all the Char clones out there?
Probably. I mean, all of them created by Rise or
No, there's Char clones not in Gundam.
Yeah, true. Yeah, but the bulk of them are in Gundam. So, my last note then. So the girls end up living together in the outro scroll and music. Definitely, they were roommates energy here.
I mean, they haven't lived together yet. I mean, that's the implied, I guess, by the ending credits, because literally the last shot of the show is our courier walking away from the scene, not with our main character. Granted, it's probably an ensemble, so I'm just calling the main character the one we spent more time with. I'm not sure about the implications behind calling Kycelia Her Excellency without any reference to the rest of the Zabi family. She was referred to as though she had a noble title in the OG, so it could just be a sign of respect. But like I said, without reference to the to the rest of the Zabis, left to her own devices, it's not impossible to think that she could have taken out everyone else and put herself in charge.
I mean, the only one person that I remember was called Their Excellency in UC was their father.
I think lower level soldiers refer to the Zabis in honorifics, so it's not entirely impossible.
Yeah, but also they were also given titles as well, like Supreme Commander, Admiral of the Fleet. So it's like
yeah, but those are titles. I'm talking about honorifics.
Yeah. It could also be translation of Sama, right? As in they're noble. So if I have to go back and listen to the audio carefully, that's what they did. In which case, yeah, be more generic, like calling prince or princess or mistress or something, or master, that kind of thing.
You're out of notes, right?
Yeah.
The GQuuuuuX has the Omega Saikamu on board, lent from Granada under specific orders that it not be used. Kamoli even mentions that it's never been used in actual combat, worried that it might cause a Zeknova, whatever that is. Additionally, Xavier was the top of his class at the Flanagan Institute, an academy that we know Lala also attended, so I'd believe that his credentials were up to snuff. I mean, he even gets the new type heads-up noise before he gets attacked.
Yeah, so I think he was, but again, like I said, my theory so far is that it was Haru, or the Haru in this case, which is one of probably many, I mean, mass manufactured by this point, who unlocked the Gundam somehow, and at least the drive, and then they went from there, as opposed to her being just so powerful that it reacted to it like, oh, this is the real,
I mean,
real master
again,
kind
I'm
of
not
situation.
discounting the fact that she's so powerful as she could, because she's the only one that we got the Lala acid trip scene from.
Including the sound, by the way, of like her name, la, 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 that, which went with Lala, so, yeah.
On the other girl's tracker screen, one of the nearby stores was S-Mart, so we are ripe for a Gundam/Evil Dead crossover now.
This is my
Boomstick.
gun? Boomstick? Yeah, I know that's a quote, but it
Shop
would be
smart,
in
shop
Gundam.
S-Smart.
Yeah, no, but it would have been, this is my Gundam? No, that doesn't work.
I don't know. For more creative minds. One of the signs outside the clan battler's place, the one with skulls in yellow triangles, was a notice for recruiting musicians. On the inside, their schedule seems to just have random text on it. 13.0325, 12 years old, I forgot to stamp my name, exotic maneuver, transfer new product information, Vespa six-wheeler, 12 years ago, Daikon Plus.
Icon Plus. Isn't that a reference to? You seen the videos of? Let me just check. I need to.
I've seen the videos of Daikon, at least two of them anyway.
Yeah, Daikon. Yeah, Daikon 4. Yeah, I think it might be a reference to Daikon opening animation, which has Gundams in it and Star Wars and everything else. So
Daikon Plus, and you're like, I think Daikon might be a reference to Daikon. It's like,
I mean, there's also a Daikon also can mean, depending how it's spelled,
Daicon, Daikon, full caps.
Yeah, if it's a C, then it's probably the con, because if it's a Daikon, it's a Japanese radish.
No, like I said, Daikon. Because I already brought this up before when you were talking about references to, can't remember, Fooly Cooly. We were talking about Fooly Cooly.
Yeah, Fooly Cooly. Yeah,
that was a Daikon reference, and this is that Daikon reference. So, suspecting that the Red Gundam might be hiding in a building, the commander of the military police units on scene orders his subordinate to peel off the roofs and look for it, because the buildings are illegal and made by refugees. Some insight on what Side 6 could become, or just the careless attitudes of the Side 6 riot police.
ACAB. I was going to put that note, but I didn't.
So before our main character rushes off to plug in the installer key into the Zaku, they say it doesn't matter because it's broken. Well, when she plugs it in, the boot up sequence has some interesting details. MS-06 mobile suit component, manufacturer code ZH1-M3-06-?, firmware build unknown, last maintenance data corrupted, primary boot device, I couldn't read it, authentication bypassed, boot sequence initialized, warning unverified, activation okay, connection okay, limiter unlocked, warning security override detected, fire control system okay, weapon calibration couldn't read, something hack mode, targeting sensors online, ammunition status, partial data available.
It sounds like a hacked OS that they install in that suit. Basically, they couldn't have the original OS, so they have a hack OS, but they couldn't get it to work because they didn't have the key. So,
except that it's a WGX22100, so it should be an official OS.
Yeah, no, but that's the thing. You would want to change the OS because you don't want it to be a registered OS because this is an illegal machine. It's like, oh, I have a PC. Yeah, the parts are standard, but I'm installing a copy of DOS or something that is not non-standard. Well, that's what I'm thinking that's happening here. Especially with all the question marks because it can register. It's trying to register its CD key or the equivalent. It's like I'm not getting anything. This is a hack OS.
I have no idea why a Haru could unlock the Omega Saikamu installer key when a new type couldn't.
Again, I think it might have been data that is missing. I speculate about how it could be. I mean, it happens more questions than answers, especially if we're going with a theory in this universe that the Harus were made by Amuro. But I don't think that's the thing. Maybe. And we're going with origins that Amuro studied significant, spent days of sleepless nights studying the systems of the Gundam, right, in Origins. But
I mean, saying we have no idea because we don't know what happens to Amuro. And my last note, the LSD trip we saw near the end of the episode, I suppose the confusing part for me was that when we got similar in OG Gundam, it was new types connecting to one another. But she sees the Red Gundam, not its pilot. That's the visual confusion I was talking about to you before. That if this was the normal new type thing, she should see the pilot of the other Gundam, not the Gundam. Every time Amuro connected with Lala, he saw Lala dancing around in the LSD trip. He didn't see Lala's mobile armor.
Maybe it's the show's trying to keep it a secret, right?
I would hope not, because that doesn't work to the mechanics of what we've already seen so far.
Yeah, but this is an AU, so yeah, we already changed a lot of things, like Sion 1.
Yeah, we changed a lot of things, but we didn't change how things work. They're still doing the new type flashes exactly the same way they did before.
Yeah, but we also the fact that the Gundams in the original. This is the first time the Gundams need, or mobile suits need, a key to operate. That wasn't there before, and this is supposed to be part of the original Gundam.
That's not a change to the original Gundam, though.
It is, because the original Gundam, when Amuro got into it, he never put a key in it, and
that's just said not a change to the original Gundam, though. This is after that. I already read to you an entire Wikipedia article about how they changed stuff after that.
Yeah,
so that's not a change. That's not a change. Well, we're not in a position where Temray developed the Gundam that required a key to operate, because the original didn't require a key, so this one didn't require a key. We're in a position that during the war, Zeon made its Gundams, or mobile suits rather, require a key. So that's not a change to things as they have been. That is a change that happened in this AU timeline. It's not a change from the start of things, it's a things how are now.
It's still divergence, though.
Yeah, no, that's what an AU is. If otherwise, we'd just be watching the same show. That's my point, is that it's not a change. I don't know why we're talking about the key anymore. What brought us on this?
As an example of things that could have changed from the original, it says, oh, in the original, when pilots connected, they would see each other if they have this vision. And I said, well, yes, but this is an AU, so they might be doing things differently.
All right, again, that was my point. The mechanics of things haven't changed unless they say that they have. And this isn't them. I don't know. I understand what you're trying to emphasize. Don't think that I don't. However, the key thing is not a good example of that, because the key thing, as I just pointed out to the fully whatever article, indicates to us that over time that is a change that has occurred. Whereas the new type stuff, all other new type stuff that we've seen in the first episode is exactly as it has been. We get the new type flashes, it's exactly the same sound effect, everything plays out the same, even the LSD trip, all look the same, except that instead of seeing another person, we see the Gundam. And in my head, the only thought that would make it all make sense is if the Gundam was a new type. Who's to say not? You didn't watch Iron Blooded Orphans, right?
It's a person, basically.
You didn't watch Iron Blooded Orphans, right?
No.
Iron Blooded Orphans, I think there's other examples in other Gundams, I can't remember them, has a mobile suit with a human brain in it, essentially. So it's not beyond what has already happened in other Gundam shows to put a human brain into a Gundam. You know, kind of a RoboCop situation.
Yeah, that's pretty yikes. Yeah.
Oh, he was my favorite character from that show. Well, second favorite. My first favorite died, and then this guy was like trying to follow up, keep that mantle going. So he became my favorite as the only living character, and then almost died, and then kind of died because brain put into a mobile suit. Anyway, that was all my notes.
Mm-hmm. I'm done with mine as well, so.
Oh yeah, nothing left to do but hop on into it.
But before we get started,
make sure that you hit the like button,
hit that subscribe button,
comment down below to feed that algorithm.
On top of all that, if you want to watch more shows like this,
unfiltered,
uncensored,
and uncut,
as well as some early access stuff,
you can check it out over on the Patreon.
It's just $5 a month, but hey, no pressure.
There's zero pressure in order to do that. It's just a little bit of extra support, and it would be greatly appreciated.
Well, unfortunately, as you all know, we have to talk over the opening because the opening is the most copyrighted thing ever.
Yeah.
At the same time, we did at one point get a copyright strike for our first episode, so who the hell knows?
I love how colorful this whole show is, particularly this intro.
And then blue. I love how colorful it is. Very blue.
Well, it's green in one and blue, and now we have reds and other things as well. So
just name all the colors you can remember.
Yellow, blue, red, orange, black, purple.
Is that it? That's all the colors you can remember?
Off the top of my head, yeah.
You didn't even say green this time around.
I did say green.
No, you said green in the previous one. And then I said, name all the colors you can say. Why don't you? And then you started and didn't say green.
That's already implied that it was there.
Already implied. You can't do that when you're naming all the colors you know. You can't get to the end and say, well, actually, I named 100. I implied the rest.
Interesting that these two Gundams seem to be working together.
Yeah, almost like one's intelligent and like there's a human brain inside.
Nah, I think that's speculation that we don't have any.
No shit. Everything we say is speculation until the show says it.
You see 7. Oh, yeah.
Luna 2.
Yeah.
This is a shot we've seen before. It's like first 4 episodes of OG. If you don't remember, the next time on literally showed Char stealing the Gundam. So Slender, Denim, Char.
All going together.
Should be one more.
Yeah.
The pants that we can't remember. We don't want to pay that Char voice actor just yet. Oh, they're gonna bump thing right there, and it's gonna go flying into the. There you go.
Yeah.
We're just reanimating the scene.
Yeah. Shot by shot. It's it.
There we go. Then Denim, I got it. I remember this. Look, I know a bunch of you out there are like, no shit, but for me, I've got a shit memory. So anytime I remember all of this, also, it's not changed yet. Remember, this guy lands and he lays backwards on the field. There we go.
But it is changed because Char is not supposed to be there.
No, he is.
No, Char comes after.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Never mind.
Even the music, yeah.
Oh, and then he's supposed to see Amuro in a car. Single vehicle, that would be Amuro.
No.
And Haw. No, Fra.
He sounds younger than I remember him.
Gene, that's the other third guy I couldn't remember. So in this continuity, Char is replacing Gene.
No, he's playing the role of Gene because he's like, I'm just gonna.
That's what I said. He's replacing Gene.
Yeah. The white Gundam.
Specifically, though, they did not show us Amuro
in the white vehicle. Yeah.
You know, he said he sees him. He sees, I see a single vehicle. That would be Amuro, but he didn't show it. It's my boy. Dren, you're alive again. So things play out exactly the same, except Char is here this time.
Yeah.
The infamous tow cables, they get more of their own people killed. This also implies that Amuro didn't drive out here like he did last time. That got killed.
Also, the cockpit is much smaller than I remember. The original cockpit was...
Tem was here.
Yeah, and with somebody else.
So the fact they're not here, I guess, implies that they died.
Or never mind. Oh, it has a I liked it. It has a central column for the core fighter, and then the controls for the.
I assume that's all the shots where, I don't know, maybe he's in this one. Talking about the original pilot that would have died in one of the tow missile explosions. I mean, gun cannon looks a lot cooler this time around.
And more powerful, too. Yeah, shot for shot. Yeah.
I mean, not really. The gun cannon didn't come out, so.
No, I mean, but the stepping up from the vehicle. Even with the music and everything. Even when he missed. Yeah.
Oh, there we go. There's Tam.
Oh, there, yeah.
So it just means that Char got there faster than Amuro did in the original timeline. Still already better than Amuro.
I mean, that's what Amuro does. He literally says,
No, he literally said, no, I'm talking about Char literally just said, if I hit him in the wrong spot, I'll blow a hole in the colony.
Which is what Amuro says.
I know, I'm saying, no, Amuro doesn't say it, Amuro does it. Amuro doesn't consider the fact that that might happen. Char knows it could happen.
No, he does. He remembers he does, yeah.
No, he doesn't. He learns from that from the first time. No, he doesn't. Just, you know what? Shut the fuck up about it. We'll talk about it at the end of the episode. We will talk about it over everything that's happening. You say rocking horse?
Yeah, remember it originally was called,
it was Trojan horse.
Trojan horse, yeah.
Oh, no one has ever called it rocking horse until now.
Yeah.
Apollo. That's presumptuous. How do you even know he was in there? Well, I assume that means Bright is dead too. I mean, they're the only two main characters that would have been on the bridge of White Base at that time. Oh, except for the other two, the ones that sit up on the high platforms, they would have been in there too.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Even the mid.
You have to. You just have to. I mean, they have a base at Luna too. A bunch of ships. Yep, as I was saying, Joaquin, Luna 2, base commander. Is this just going to be an episode where all the Earth Federation named guys are just going to get killed one after the other?
Probably. I mean, Joaquin gets killed later on in the series, but...
Yeah, no, he goes through the entire war. He's a fucking hero.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It is funny that we are going straight from Side 7 to Luna 2. Kind of in the same pattern that we did before. Are we going to see Garma? I think they're going to go to Earth and we can see Garma. Because ironically, this would be the scene where Amuro was shooting a retreating Char.
Yeah.
Or shooting at, rather.
モビルスーツに戦艦並みのビーム砲とはな。来たか。では見せてもらおうか。このモビルスーツの性能とやらを。
I mean, that thing has no chance anyway. It looks like an old Iron Cavalry model.
No.
Rocking horse. Where the fuck did you come up with this, man?
やるな、ゼロヒトガンダム。
We'll run out of ammo real soon.
機動性はやつも同じか。
I don't know who's supposed to be in that one, though.
甘いな。 遅い。
Also, you know, same studio.
Yeah.
The old Gunbuster kick. I can't remember what it was called. I'm just gonna assume that was Amuro. For no reason. No reason whatsoever. Just to explain why he's not anywhere to be seen.
Yeah.
There we go. The actual Cha.
Yeah.
Oh, please let us see what's his name. Dozel.
ジオニックの新型は開発を中止し、ガンダムのリバースエンジニアリングによる量産計画が決裁されました。
そうか。それはいい知らせだ。しかしドズル中将は反対され
It actually, that shuttle looks like a head of a Gundam too.
されたという話です。
マリガン、キシリア閣下配下の貴様がなぜ私に便宜を図る？軍を離れたガルマのお守りでもさせたいのか？
Garma left. I guess Ice Lena loves remains.
と改名された強襲揚陸艦とガンダムをグラナダへ届けていただきたいのです。
連邦軍の大規模な作戦が近い。
Okay, so White Base is now Sudan.
キシリア様には遠大な計画が終わりのようです。シャア大佐には何としても協力をお願いしたい。
ほう、これは
大佐専用の識別色に塗り直しておきました。
これもキシリア閣下が？
はい。一月で終わるはずの戦争が。
But to be fair, Caecilia always kind of knew that Char was, or who he was.
買いかぶりすぎだな。ガルマも言っていただろう。モビルスーツも所詮は陸戦兵器だ。私一人で戦局が変えられる。
Weird for Char to lean on Garma wisdom.
もし大佐が特別な人で終わりなら。
シャア・アズナブルにおけるニュータイプの発
Wow, literally a file on him.
私にその才能があると。
Well, I meant that she always knew that he was the son of Daikun.
いとも簡単に操ってみせたセンス。他を圧倒する攻撃期待値と
An aerospace museum, huh? I guess NASA existed and the United States existed in the UC universe, right?
モビルスーツの性能だけでは説明できかねます。
これは本来
I call it spider sense.
そのコピーをなぜ私に見せる？フラナガン博士。貴様私に何を？
Well, they changed the look of Dr. Flanagan too.
私は一介の技術者です。人の革新が本当にあるのなら
I'd say somehow they made him older.
それだけの男に過ぎません。
私の他にニュータイプはいるのか？
シャリアブル隊、ただいま到着。
I'm gonna call you Mav.
ご苦労、シャアだ。木星船団の任務、大義であった大尉。戦況は聞いているか？
はい、おおよそは。5日前にソロモンが落ち、ドズル中将が戦死。
Oh, damn it.
Also, Solomon fell.
How did that happen?
このままでは本土決戦も時間の問題かと。
率直だな。その通り、現状は芳しくないが、ジオンが勝つ方法はある。
I guess we still get to the end of the war basically the same way, but we win the end. Yeah, Solar Ray.
違うな。
I guess, to be fair, if the war happens exactly the same, but the Gundam is on Zeon's side, Alpha Psychomo.
試作アルファ型のサイコミを無理を言って詰め込んでもらった。
サイコミ？
人の認知能力を拡大し、ミノフスキー粒子下でも無線による情報通信を可能にする新たなシステムだ。あれはサイコミを介し、操縦者の脳波に直接。
I guess unlike the wired ones that Lala had to use. Where is Lala?
テクノロジーだが、実用テストはまだこれからだ。その時には君にも手伝ってもらいたい。
例のニュータイプというお話ですが、私はただ勘がいいだけの男です。
I kinda hope all my joking about Lala
そうかな。君ならできる。
at the end of this 12 episode run just pans back from Lala's eyes from OG Gundam and she's just viewing another universe.
9世紀のボルドーの砂岩ですか。こういう時に疑似重力があるのはありがたいですね。
ギレン総帥に何か含まされてきたのだろ
う。はい。大佐のようにうまくは立ち回れません。
I guess if everything plays out exactly the same, Caecilia will kill Giran at Abaquo, and she will be the only one left, and then they'll win the war with her still alive.
Yeah.
いかなる方法でしょうか。
それは私と組むことだ。シャリアブル隊員。ニュータイプ全体の平和のために、ひいては人類全体のためにと言っておこうか。何にせよ、この戦争に負けるわけにはいかない。君にも存分に活躍してもらう。
戦争に勝って、その後は。
人の心を覗きすぎるのは良くない。我々の間には隠し事などなくなるのだからな。
From one new type to another.
増えたようだ。よろしく頼む、大尉。新しき時代のために。
第4証言クリア。現在コンペイトンの周囲に処刑なし。
Earth controlled Solomon.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. That's when Lala attacks. But this time it isn't Lala, is Char.
So does Lala not exist in this timeline?
Apparently.
I guess maybe that could be the difference. What if not a test, but a full-on attack?
Yeah.
すごいものだな。あれをシャアとシャリアブル2人で仕掛けたのか。
はい。連邦軍の主力艦隊が停泊中です。警備は厳重なはずでありますが。
ニュータイプ恐るべし。
And yet somehow Caecilia looks exactly the same.
実戦投入を急がねばならんが、問題はギレン兄か。総帥の唱える人の確信は口先ばかりだからな。
Also, that would imply that, what's his name? The commander, Supreme Commander. I was looking for a name.
Yeah.
You're not gonna help me at all.
Beats down.
一方、連邦軍は月のグラナダへのソロモン落としを敢行する。
Oh, they're doing their own
Well, that's confusing to me because we Zeon controlled Granada. So
yeah.
Why would we drop our own base on Granada?
No, remember they captured Solomon. So they're using Solomon to destroy Granada.
赤いガンダムのサイコミュが暴走。後にゼクノバと呼ばれるこの事
No, there you go.
ソロモン要塞の3分の
Defines
1を
that.
消失させ、結果グラナダへの直撃は回避された。ルナ2とソロモンを失った地球連邦政府は戦争継続を断念。ジオン公国に対し休戦を申し入れた。時に宇宙世紀0080 1月3日。
So 3 days after the
Well,
original
anyway, my
war
point
ended.
from the guy I couldn't remember his name and he didn't help me at all with should still be alive.
Yeah.
Caecilia's father.
大佐はソロモンの輝きとともに消えたままだ。
Oh man, I do know about. Oh, okay, yeah. Man, I can't talk about that.
あなたは何を見たのですか、シャア大佐。
Yeah, I know what that glow is.
どこへ消えたのですか、赤いガンダム。
At least. Continues with episode 1. Oh, so
when
this is a
the
story
movie
told.
when the movie came out, it had bonus stuff that I think it was implied that the Char stuff was bonus to the story of this. So, God, why can't I not fucking remember names?
Musket. Yeah.
Keep talking. I talk over this stuff.
No. I remember something from something we're gonna watch way later beyond UC that I'm not gonna talk about because it's a complete spoiler. So
Beyond UC?
Well, beyond what we're doing right now in UC. It's literally the end of UC as we know it, as far as I know.
Degwin. I can't remember why I couldn't remember Degwin's name. Degwin should still be alive.
True.
If we never fired the solar ray, then Degwin never got in the way of it.
Yeah.
So, for some reason, Dozel is the only zombie that's dead so far.
And Garen, probably.
No.
No, because remember that...
The only confirmed kill that we have is Dozel.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I really thought the ending credits would be over by now.
お金欲しいの？ならさ、私とクランバトルに出てよ。ダメ。だってモビルスーツを動かすには非合法のインストーラーデバイスが必要なの。次回、クランバトルのマチ。マチュって誰よ？
Alright, Machu. Call her Machu from now on. Okay, so, to the argument that we were having, Amuro doesn't know that happens until he does it the first time.
Yeah. But he does say those exact same words. I gotta use a sword to prevent, the rupture. Basically, he literally says the same words.
That's where I'm saying that you're wrong. He does not say that because he doesn't know until he does it the first time.
Yeah, but remember that he was fighting 2 mobile suits. He destroys a wall and destroys one of the mobile suits, and it was like, oh, I can't keep using this. I gotta pull up my sword and attack the second. Which literally, that's when he stabs it, just like Char did. Stabbed the gun, not gun tank, the other Gundam with the shoulder cannons, gun cannon. Literally does the same thing and says, I gotta use this because otherwise I'm gonna make another hole in the structure. Which is the first one is the one that sucks his father out, and we know what happens with that. But literally,
we're all well aware of how Amuro sucked his father off.
Anyway, this was this episode. Let me just check something.
Yes, this was this episode. We did not just have a commentary about a different episode.
Interesting. They did mostly a shot by shot comparison with the original, including the music, the what's it called, the shots of the episodes, right? When you have go to commercial. I like that. Even the explosions were basically the same. Well, updated, of course, but still, right?
I think it goes to show that the Earth Federation would have been willing to drop a thing on a thing.
I mean, yeah. I'm
They
not
did.
condoning that.
I mean, they did try.
Yeah, I mean, mind you, they're retaliating for what happened with, and also Grenada is not the entirety of Earth. It's a military base. I mean, I know that Grenada has civilians. I'm not condoning
It's not. Yeah, it's not a military
but in
base. It's actually a city.
Yeah.
These the military bases are outside of it because you remember we saw that on the giant road, the 6-hour road to Zionic.
I mean, it's the capital of Zeon's occupation of the moon.
Not really.
That
they controlled von Neumann before Grenada. They invade Grenada after the declaration of war.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to do that in Grenada. To be perfectly honest, it doesn't make any sense in doing a Grenada.
I don't know. I thought it was weird too, but then again, I didn't understand that it was Earth Federation doing it. I thought it was like Zeon doing this to Zeon. This doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, no. I mean, if they're going to do anything, you might do it to Side 3, right? To Munzo.
Well, it might be a situation where it would have been easier to hit Grenada than it would be the home colonies, as it were. Especially if they have solar array all up and ready to go. I mean, I don't think the solar array would have destroyed it because we saw it get hit by their solar array system thing before. But there might be an effect of pushback
or deviation.
Yeah, and you're not attacking the entirety of the Earth, in which case, missing is still hitting. Ramming into a random other part of the moon is just some empty ass random other part of the moon.
Yeah, which reminds me of something I wanted to say in Seed. The whole, we see like mushrooms and all that. That should not have happened. It should have been a flash and maybe local excitement. There's not enough volume of particulates in the lunar atmosphere to create a nuclear mushroom.
I don't remember seeing it.
Yeah, I did. But when I was rewatching it, I was like, why do we have I mean, I know why. It looks impressive, but it's like, that doesn't work.
I guess technically the moon does have some gravity. You could,
but it's not gravity,
you could blow particles up and have them fall down, and that could make a...
Yeah, no,
I don't know what font I'm thinking about. The font of that really elongated T.
Mushroom, yeah.
No, I'm not talking about a mushroom cloud. I'm talking about an elongated T because it's particulates going up and then coming down in a curve. There's a font that does that like old style calligraphy T.
Yeah, it would be a column going up and then collapsing to the side.
It would look like the explosions from Evangelion. The light explosions.
But it wouldn't look like a mushroom cloud. Definitely.
Like I said, I don't remember it, so I can't defend things I don't remember.
I mean, like I said, the moon does have an extremely thin atmosphere because it has gravity and there's particulates in it, but the concentration of it is so, 1 part per trillion or something like that. So there's really no air to speak of, right? It's there if you want to be, technical about it, but it doesn't matter.
I mean, I would argue that the moon doesn't have any atmosphere whatsoever, but I don't know. But so I'm not going to argue. I'll just say, if you're wrong, the comments will let us know. I mean, otherwise, I thought the history of this AU was going to be a lot more different. Like, I guess for some reason I just assumed Char gets the Gundam and Char just wins. But apparently we go like right to the end, like right to, for some reason we drew the line in Dozel dying. Like the best of the zombies had to die.
I mean, again, the situation was that the Earth Federation had overwhelming numbers, right? That was their big trump card. But if Char attacks them and destroys a lot of them around Solomon, then,
Well, I mean, I don't think it's the numbers thing anymore. I think it's literally, we see that he gets the Gundam, they stopped mass producing their own mobile suits, it reverse engineered the Gundam. So now, I guess Zeon has General Model, and Earth Federation doesn't have General Model anymore because they based that onto Gundam.
Yeah, so they have the earlier one, which wasn't as good.
I guess at the same time, Tem survives, so they could make all that stuff still.
But it depends on where they could make it, if they have any place to make them.
Well, yeah, I mean, if they spent all their time building the facilities on Side 7, and then... Oh, no, they abandoned Side 7, and they don't destroy anything, so Tem is still there. Assumedly, most of the people are still there. I guess conceivably, we could still run into Amuro if he didn't, like, die. Like, the fact that they don't show him in the car when the guy is looking, so there's one car going. So they're intentionally trying not to show us. And there's no telling if he blew up with the Fraw and the road pass.
Yeah, because the attack is only concentrated on the base itself, so.
Yeah, but again, the element of what aren't they showing us? They didn't show us Amuro when they could have because they described it. So they're just not showing us other stuff. Is there going to be a secondary perspective that we're going to see at some point? Like, does Amuro show? Well, I don't think they can have Amuro show up. It's 12 episodes, right? They can't have Amuro show up to do a thing. Yeah. Although we just had a whole episode with Char, but Char is a character they've already brought up in episode 1, so that it's established.
And also, we are told at the end that Char disappears.
Well, we don't know what happens, right? Because he's still like the very last line of this episode when you go back to rewatch. The idea, though, that you wouldn't bring in Amuro if the story is about Machu. You don't want to, like, we're already kind of subverting with the whole Char thing, but I feel like that is the world building that we need to do to establish why things are different. But you wouldn't want to bring Machu in, you wouldn't want to bring Amuro in to do a thing when, hey, he's a character with so much backstory weight, kind of like Char, that he is going to subvert anything that Machu is doing.
Yeah. Unless
for some stupid-ass reason, I'm saying this would be fucking stupid. Stronger word for stupid that you can't say anymore. If Amuro shows up in clan battle.
I mean, they could team up, I guess.
Well, I'm assuming he's going to team up with the other girl. That's the pairing we got right now. But
But we do see them in the intro, 2 Gundams, the Red Gundam and the GQuuuuuux teaming up together. So we don't know who or what is the Red Gundam. We know, according to Shia LaBeouf, that it's not Char.
What if it's Amuro's brain in the Gundam?
That again?
That again, like I made it up. Again, Iron Dalton. Look up Iron Dalton at some point from Iron Blooded Orphans.
Yeah, but that's from another series.
You're saying it's from an AU? Is that what your argument is? Couldn't be in this AU. That's a different AU. Nothing from one AU ever comes up in another AU.
By your rules, we haven't been shown brain implantation up to this point.
However, by my own statements, Lala created the multiverse. I'm just waiting for the last episode of this is that we see whatever happens to Machu and everything like that, and then Lala pulls back from the snow globe and it's like...
God, no.
Well, it would explain why Lala's not here. Like, why would we go through the entire Char backstory and not include a single bit of Lala? Because Lala created this AU, and she's looking in on it. She's the watcher in this scenario. Look, I'm not the one who created her lines from OG Gundam where she says new types can travel in time and space. It's like, well, what are you doing with that? I don't know. It would really explain she dies, and then, we see all these weird LSD visions from Amuro's perspective. That maybe that's what she's doing. She's just traveling time and space now. She's transcended. She's a Vorlon.
And that would be a thing. I'm not saying it's a good thing, but it would be a thing.
I don't know. I think I like it. It doesn't bother me that much because it's already pretty fucking weird, Lala's whole thing.
Yeah.
So having some sort of weird connective tissue beyond like Turn A Gundam and everything that connects all the Gundam series together somehow. It doesn't do anything that's actionable, right? Lala, even if Lala is like a watcher observer, witnessing and creating by witnessing all of these AUs, there's nothing that happens that says, oh, character from Domon Kashu doesn't show up in the Universal Century. There's no actionable content there. It's just some weird observation thing going on. Quantum mechanics. I don't know. It's episode 2 out of 12. I feel like if I have a crazy theory, gotta call it out now. Otherwise, everyone would be like, oh no, we didn't fucking see it coming, and hear me in the corner of the internet. I mentioned it at episode 2. I, in fact, mentioned it back in OG Gundam. Sorry, old man voice, because I was also a thought in my head, we don't know when this is taking place. You know, Charlie Bull looks younger than he did back when. So, old man Amuro coming around at some point could be a thing.
I mean, it could be 0081 or 82 at least.
I mean, we have no way of telling. No date other than this episode has shown up yet.
Yeah, the white base is still around.
Sodan.
Yeah. Sodan. Don't like that name.
Well, it is what it is now.
I'm going to keep calling Green Base.
Like a rocking horse. That's the real timeline change. Well, because
something else.
Well, yeah, I mean, literally. Well, I mean, I guess the real timeline change is Char being there instead of not being there. But the real, I mean, I guess technically also gun cannon walking up. Is the implication that Amuro was in the gun cannon?
Probably. Or no, it could have been the other pilot that was going to pilot the Gundam.
I was saying that during the reaction because we don't see him explicitly dying, but I would think, well, they shoot the bases. We never see the tow cables go, come back around and shoot into the base to kill him. My problem is I can never remember his name off the top of my head. I always think of Joaquin, but Joaquin, as we just saw, die too.
It's implied that he died. That in a ship-to-ship combat that they were defeated.
Well, I mean, we saw him die. Basically, Char calls him out as coming out there, and then he blows up the ship.
No, he blows up the mobile suit. He doesn't blow up the ship.
No, he blows up the ship.
I didn't see that part.
Yeah, no. Well, I don't know if they show the ship blowing up, but they show the outline of the ship, and then the outline of the ship blowing up. Well, I mean, I specifically called it out loud. Like, oh no, Joaquin's dead. Or I didn't say, oh no, I didn't fucking care about Joaquin that much to begin with. I said, I know I indicated out loud that Joaquin had died.
Yeah, that's for the rewatch then, to see what.
Well, there's a lot there. That's a lot for the rewatch. This is all, hey, what do you remember from the first couple episodes of Mobile Suit Gundam? Hey, apply all that knowledge to this. Oh yeah, and we also got to see McQueeve. That's I want to bring this up. It's like cross show stuff now, but recent comment on one of the videos. Where is it? All right, from episode 37 of Mobile Suit Gundam: The Duel in Texas. You're all forgetting something very important. McQueeve is really dumb. They literally sent him into the Antarctic Treaty negotiations in Origin because he's so dumb and also arrogant and lacks any self-awareness of these facts. Remember, they're well before all of my comments, I guess, that McQueeve is the best Zeon soldier commander in the entire show.
I guess that somebody disagrees with you.
No. Never encountered that before. Again, I disagree with Tamino, who said that we leave McQueeve's death out of the movie because it's so not important. McQueeve has a better success ratio than any other Char but this one. Like, in this AU universe, saying McQueeve is a big old dummy, probably true. Although, still alive, so he managed not to get himself killed here, so... Whereas Dozel's dead.
He did lose the battle of Odessa, still, apparently.
I guess. I mean, to be fair, though, how could he not have?
I mean, if they had deployed the Gundam to Earth as they did in the original timeline, that they could have helped.
Well, I mean, that's a rough estimation, because we deployed, sorry, Earth Federation deploys the Gundam to Earth because they're on a not runaway, I was gonna say refuge. They're on a path to try and get back to friendly territory, because they've got nowhere else to go.
Yeah.
Zeon, their friendly territory is space, right?
Yeah.
They would have to put the Gundam in harm's way in order to send it to Earth to try and reverse course. And what they choose to do is to reverse engineer it, which means that they can't send it anywhere. They've got to, send it to Zeonic.
Yeah. Which explains also why Char was was out of the combat for so long. He didn't get redeployed. He stayed with the Gundam.
Yeah, until they repainted it and sent him back out near the end of the war. Yeah, that also doubles down on why it's dumb to crash Solomon into Granada. Crash Solomon into Zeonic.
He's also in the moon, I think.
It is, again, so it's 6 hours out from either Granada or
something.
Yeah, I literally just said it earlier. Now I can't remember it. Because if that's the place where they've got all the information about the the breakdown of the Gundam and they're mass producing new Gundams, take out that production.
Yeah. Also, clearly in this AU, the United States existed. It was the one that went to space and went to the moon first, which is something that we're the whole thing about Universal
contention.
No, in Universal Century, none of that gets mentioned.
I talked to you literally about the backstory of Minovsky, which covers the USSR and Chernobyl events. So if that stuff already took place, then I would assume the United States and everything else also took place.
Yes, but that was in a manga. It was never shown in the anime. As far as the anime was concerned, DUC was just the future.
I am not drawing that line. That might be a line for you, but that's not a line for me. The associated works I'm fine with. Again, for me, the debate that you're probably referencing is the I don't care about stuff that doesn't happen on screen as the argument to explain what's happening on screen, right? Because the narrative should be explainable via all the contents on screen, right? That's the argument that I've typically had. So when people pull out, hey, this technical manual says this about this thing, that's why Kira survives, or, whatever. That is bullshit to me. But in this, if you're saying that the United States never showed up on screen before now, I don't have a problem with it being explained in a manga, especially one that I've read. Obviously, I have no problem with the ones that I've read. At the moment, I'm only hindered by not reading any other ones, because everything else takes place in the 1 Year War, and I don't want to spoil myself for something I should not know yet. Like if I read a manga that takes place in the 1 Year War, and then all of a sudden fucking Shiro Yamato shows up, and it's like, oh, shit.
Hiro. Shin Yamato. Is it Shin Yamato?
I think it's Shiro. I think I'm right, Shiro Yamato.
From Seed Destiny?
Now you're fucking me up again.
Yeah, that's Jin, not Shiro.
No, I'm right. Shiro Amada.
Amada. Oh, well, he's from MS.
Yeah, I know. That's what I said. He's also in the 1 Year War, though. Like I said, if I start reading a manga that is in the 1 Year War, and then fucking Shiro Amada shows up, and it's like, oh, shit, I'm going to learn something about Shiro Amada that I haven't learned in the show yet. I can't risk it. Like anything that might be a spoiler, I cannot spoil myself to. I want to finish everything that we're watching during the 1 Year War, and then once we start into probably either an encore thing or Stardust Memory. I think that's the next thing.
Stardust Memory. Yeah.
After the 1 Year War, then I will start reading the 1 Year War stuff or Origin, the actual manga for Origin. I just don't want to spoil myself for something I shouldn't know yet that happens in the manga that is referenced in someone's backstory or, whatever. or the off chance one of these characters from the show shows up in a manga and then fucking dies, and like, oh no, I don't want to know that yet.
So there you have it. The prequel episode to the series, because this is a story told by Chila Bull while they're flying towards Side 6 aboard the Green Base.
I know that it's been like an hour ago, but I don't remember the story being told by Chala Bull. I remember
it literally is. Chila Bull is when the last shot is Chila Bull still talking as he'd been narrating the whole story to his crew. I'm gonna I don't care if it's called Sudan. I'm gonna call it Green Base. As Green Base is going, it's going to Side 6.
Rocking Horse,
implying that he was the one telling the story all along.
That's what I'm saying. It's been an hour ago. I don't recall that happening. In my head, I don't recall that being the case. I thought it was more like he's standing there in the window remembering. Also, pretty odd that he destroyed the entire bridge and then they rebuilt it almost exactly the way it was before.
I mean, why change it?
I don't know. Maybe improve it. Doesn't seem like a very effective bridge in the first place. You remember what's his name that we took from Luna 2 with us in the OG?
Yeah.
The guy whose arm was broken. He's a real fucking asshole. All about military tribunal. If you're even following his orders, it's a military fucking tribunal for you. I just remember the chair he's sitting on, just hovering a little bit above the ground on like a beam that goes up into the ceiling. It's like, the ship gets rocked a little too hard. You're going to get very injured. But yeah, Apollo dead. Bright Noah, I assume, also dead because he would have been on the bridge.
Yeah.
Marker and it's Marker Clan and the other guy I can't remember, probably also dead.
Yeah.
Was our bomb specialist one of the guys from Side 7, or was he actually trained crew?
I don't know. I think he might be trained crew, but I think he was also part of the people that worked the catapults, so he probably got captured instead of killed.
All the old people that did their sit-in on the bridge probably still alive?
I mean, they never got evacuated to...
no reason to be evacuated. The place didn't get a giant hole blown into it. And they evacuated from the area as fast as they could, so...
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of everybody that we saw. Hot Dog did get his moment, I guess, because that woman and the child never got evacuated to Earth.
Yeah.
Dude still walking around with coffee beans in his pocket. Yeah. The kid named Hare never got off of Side 7. Oh. Kika and gang are just still on Side 7 playing around in the water, I guess.
No, I think everybody would have been in the bunkers because everybody was like, remember in Origins, they got into the bunkers, and then that's from the bunker is that Amuro goes like, oh, you shouldn't go out there. He goes out there, and that's
right. But I'm not saying that they didn't get evacuated. They're still there. Like they shouldn't still be in the bunkers, right? Well, I mean, technically, this takes place across the entire. Well, I guess 4 months actually.
Yeah,
eventually
they would get out of the bunker, but eventually I would think that Side 6 would have been occupied by Side 7 by further Zeon forces.
I don't know. I don't think so.
If they took Luna 2, then it's much easier for them to.
I don't think they took Luna 2. It's in the evacuation from him running from Side 7. He attacks the people that come from Luna 2. They don't take Luna 2, though. And also, you remember in the original continuity, they circle around to Luna 2 and Side 7 on their way towards Solomon and Avaquo. So, implying that Federation retained control of Side 7 throughout the war. So, if they did in the original timeline, I don't see why they wouldn't in this timeline. Because the changes that get made is they still win at Solomon. So, they still circled around from Luna 2 and Side 7 to Solomon.
Yeah.
Implying that they maintained control. So yeah, I just guess that everyone not associated with Temray still on Side 7. Like, there's no reason those kids.
Alive, yeah.
There's no reason those kids went anywhere. Temray might be too valuable, so him and maybe just him. Temray has a history of leaving Amuro behind, so
Yeah.
Why would he not just leave him behind again? In which case, Amuro also gets no fucking experience from this war either.
Yeah. More questions than answers, definitely.
And Fra never becomes an adoptive mother to those kids.
Yeah, because they have their parents still. So
Sayla should still be at Side 7.
yes, as a doctor.
To never have come in contact with her brother. I'm just thinking of everybody at Side 7 that no longer has any story whatsoever.
Yeah.
The very, very disappointing story of Bright Noah. One day, reported for duty on the bridge, exploded.
Yeah, well, it happens.
Yeah.
It was very bright the way he went out.
In a Nova. At a bright Nova.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess that's everything. Until the notes next time, where I cover everybody I think may not be alive. So once again, I have been Theta. This has been Lessons. We've been Stoneface Reactions, and we will catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another Stoneface Reactions. If you have an idea of another video we could go ahead and watch, go ahead and put it in the comments down below and we'll add it to the wheel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know what you thought about this video, what parts you liked. And until then, we'll see you next time. Is this too goofy?